Hello and welcome. You're watching the Right to be Heard Town Hall. Every week we take one person who plays an important role in society and get young concerned citizens to ask that person questions. Today we're in Mumbai and we've got Bollywood's biggest star, Mr. Amitabh Bachchan with us. Thank you very much, Mr. Bachchan, for agreeing to take questions from this young audience. It's great to have you with us.
Thank you.
My job is to speak as little as I can and get young people to ask questions. We'll start with that lady over there.
Hello, sir. As Bollywood talks about women empowerment, why are actresses given item numbers? Like the presence of an actress mainly in movies nowadays is an item song which they do, where they are described in a very not a good manner. And these roadside Romeos use those songs for Eve teasing most of the time. So what is your take on that, sir?
Yeah, I think it's a very valid question, and I think we need to look intrinsically and see if we can find alternatives or see why we need it. I wouldn't agree with you entirely. Every leading lady is not portrayed as an item girl. And if you look back on today and this entire year, you will find that 3 of the films that have been very popular are all based on women power. Yes, I agree that they may be hurting certain sentiments, and we need to look into that. But as I said, that we have a censor board, which if they find something very objectionable, they have the legal side, or at least constitutionally, the right to not allow it to be exhibited. We, all of us, need to look within ourselves. And when I say all of us, I include the film industry as well as the media.
Do you think there is a correlation, Mr. Bachchan, between item songs, the manner in which women are projected on the big screen, and instances of rape? There are several studies that suggest that there is a correlation.
I can't say. I'm merely saying that yes, it's a valid point, but to only put the blame on that, I don't think is quite fair. I used to ask my father during his last days. He used to sit out every evening and he used to watch a Hindi film, most of them mine. And I used to ask him. I went up to him and said, "Why is it that you keep watching these Hindi films every evening?" And he said, "Hindi cinema is good and popular because you get poetic justice in 3 hours. Many of us will not get poetic justice in a lifetime, perhaps several lifetimes." So, I don't think it's an adequate answer, but I want to say this, that if we show rape, we are showing that there is evil. Until we show the evil, we take care of it in the end. We definitely punish the person. We punish the villain. And we all do it within 2.5 hours.
I'm an anesthetist. I've come from Baroda. And I'm a huge fan of yours. I saw Jayaji break down in the parliament. And it brought tears to me. I saw her begging them to stop frivolous discussions, get down to brass tacks and get justice for this girl, walk to the commissioner's office. And it was absolutely one after the other that she did. I felt so proud. What did you feel, sir?
Obviously, she's my wife, and but even if she hadn't been my wife, it would have been an equally very moving moment. I think that we put our representatives into these 2 houses of parliament, where we hope that they will bring up issues and matters which concern not just the nation, concern us personally, concern the law. What they discuss and decide then becomes law, and then it's executed by our Supreme Courts and High Courts. But yes, it was very inspiring. We need to continue this thought process.
There's some people who compare Hollywood with Bollywood and say that in India, stars do try and give back, but not in the same extent as in Bollywood. I mean, the amount of time, the commitment, the passion that, say, an Angelina Jolie displays towards her causes, and several other Hollywood stars, is not replicated to the same extent by our Bollywood stars. Do you think that's an unfair assessment?
I would disagree with that. I don't think that, this constant comparison between Hollywood and the Indian film industry, I don't like the other word, so I'm not mentioning it, is a little erroneous. You read more about them, but there are many people in the film industry who quietly do so many things. I believe the charity needs to be done and not talked about. And I'm shy of talking about my own work that I do, purely because I feel it's not correct for me to talk about what I'm doing. It's like, self-aggrandizement in a sense. I don't like that, but I keep doing. There are some efforts that we do which are very visual. I work for polio. I work for the girl child. The United Nations has appointed me the ambassador for polio. I worked very hard for 6, 7 years. And you'll be happy to know that for the first time in the history of polio in India, for one entire year, we never had a polio case.
No, and I think Mr. Bachchan deserves a round of applause for that.
And we are aware of what we need to do. A lot of people in Hollywood do it, God bless them. But I think it's more written about there and more talked about there than it is done here.
Let's take a question from the gentleman in the specs then.
Let's delve into your political ideology. Let's look at the Congress, relations with Congress, your wife as a member of parliament for Samajwadi Party, and then you going the vibrant Gujarat with Narendra Modi. So as a youngster who's shaping his political ideology and looks up to people to understand, what political ideology is best for the country and what might shape the future of the country in a better way, we would want to know that what ideology are you more bent towards? I mean, what is
the Bachchan brand of politics?
Right. I'll make a correction first. Firstly, I'm not a politician anymore. I've left politics. I realized that I was a failure because I was not qualified to do politics. I went into politics on an emotional note, and that's as far as I could understand what politics was. But politics is not just emotion. It's a lot more deeper and it's a lot more complicated. I was not qualified for it. I accepted my failure and moved out of it. I have remained non-political as far as my public standing is concerned. Because I happen to be in an industry where celebrities are formed, we are prone to meeting people from different walks of life. I can be a student, I could be a politician, I could be meeting anybody from any strata of life. But that is purely because I'm an actor and I come to meet a lot of people. I've never expressed any political thought or ideology publicly ever since I left politics. Yes, I have many friends. And obviously I can't deny myself the friendship that I may have with, say, Bal Saheb Thackeray or with Narendra Modi. The Gujarat campaign is a campaign for tourism. It's a tourism for the state of Gujarat. It's got nothing to do with the political beliefs of Mr. Narendra Modi. Gujarat is a part of India. I support the tourism in that because I look upon it as a part of my country. I'm promoting my country. I don't see any wrong in that. It does not mean that I am aligning myself to Mr. Narendra Modi or his political thought. No, not at all.
What do you think?
So if you are wanting to know my personal political ideology, we'll have to meet outside this theatre where we don't have so many cameras moving.
But Mr. Bachchan, what do you think of Mr. Narendra Modi? And this question is important, especially in the role that he might play in central Indian politics over the next few months.
Rahul, these are, more political questions, and I know that that is a subject that you excel in. I really would not be able to answer it. I would go by the fact that we run a democratic society, we follow certain democratic rules, and according to those practices, if he is chosen in a role which is, as you are saying, the Prime Minister, that's the choice of the people.
But does it bother you that he's got these charges against him and you are his brand ambassador, the ambassador for the state of Gujarat?
No, I'm not the brand ambassador for the state of Gujarat. I'm brand ambassador for tourism in the state of Gujarat. There's a lot of difference. Many of us didn't know. In fact, I didn't know. And one of the reasons why I accepted to do this was when he told me, Mr. Narendra Modi himself, told me that the largest number of archaeological sites in India are in the state of Gujarat. And nobody knows about it. And I felt that that is something that I would be very happy to volunteer to do.
The gentleman there.
Since we're on the topic of politics, you've been close to another very powerful political dynasty, so to speak, the Gandhis. Mm-hmm. And when Sonia ji first came to India, you were there to receive her. And in so many years, what I would really like to know is, one, how has your relationship, the Bachchan relationship with the Gandhis transformed? And how have you seen Sonia ji develop and change from the time when she first came in to the role that she plays now?
Yeah, I think that this is something personal. I wouldn't like to, go into that region. But as I said, that she came in as the wife of Rajiv Gandhi, and there has been a long association of relationship between our family and their family. And it's not starting from Rajiv Gandhi or Sonia Gandhi or Indira Gandhi. It is there from my father's time, from my parents' time with Jawaharlal Nehru and the entire freedom movement. I respect that. I will always respect that relationship because my father and my mother were involved in it. For what the future holds for politicians and the jobs that they've taken up, that the nation decides every 5 years when they have the election.
Okay, let's take a question from the gentleman in the kurta there.
You spoke about poetic justice in 3 hours in Hindi cinema. Your wait for justice was much longer in the Bofors case, right? For someone from yours, with your stature, did you feel powerless at any point in time? And was this baggage something that you thought about throughout this ordeal of yours?
No, I did not. I did not think about it because I knew that I hadn't done anything wrong. So I didn't need to be afraid of anything. But thank God that we didn't have the electronic media at that time. Otherwise, I would have been crucified by now and put into jail and, hung.
But the print media crucified you, vilified you.
Yeah, it was very strong. But it was, apart from front page headlines, there was not the influence of what the electronic media has today. But yes, they were very turbulent times for me and for my family. Very destructive because what the media writes and says is like, it goes as an absolute belief amongst the people, and that's what they believed. And to be called a traitor every second day, to have, sold the country off, they're not very pleasant things to hear. And the effect that it has is that when you go out, you get abused on the streets. When I used to work on the streets, I used to be abused. And
what would people say?
I can't use those expletives here.
Really?
Yeah. And all these matters, they actually had effect on that. So one day, my father called me. And he said, "Beta, tum kuch galat kaam to nahi kar rahe ho." And I felt that is the day I decided to fight. Because I said, if my father's getting affected by this, then there's something really wrong. And that's the day I decided to fight Bofors. And we moved court and we fought single-handedly without any assistance from anyone. We went to court and we invited each and every person who had accused us to come into the court and prove us guilty. Not a single person came. Two of them apologized on the door of the courts of law. We moved court in London. They apologized there and said, "We never had anything on you." And one of them, who was adamant, he went into court. He lost. He had to pay a fine. And we decided that we would give this amount to a young air hostess whom you know of, and we all know of, who gave up her life during that hijack incident that happened in an aircraft. And she's from here in Mumbai, and we decided to pay that money. But, oh gosh, this is getting very long. And we broke for interval in the court of law. And the judge was going to come back and pass the decision. So we took a break because there was a break in the courts of law, and we came home. And that's when we immediately got news that Rajiv ji had been assassinated. And so we rushed back. And I spent about 2 months here. And by the time we came back, this gentleman had wrapped up his entire media operation in London and moved to America. And so we never could get any compensation. And America has this very strong, what is it, the First Amendment. First Amendment, which, you can't battle.
But Sten Lindstrom, if I recall correctly, said that there were people in India who planted stories against you.
Yeah.
And those people are still here. Do you know who those people are?
No, I don't.
Do you want to face them and ask them
why
they
did
did
that?
that? You don't wish to face them. Just being vindicated by court is enough.
क्या करेंगे अभी? 25 साल हो गए.
Don't you want to ask him, why did you do that against me? There's some of them in the opposition now, from what I can gather.
What matters really, Rahul, is that we got our legal decision 25 years ago. If he's bringing some more information, good for him. And I'm happy to know that. And I wish that my parents were alive to hear it, because this was one thing that was troubling them. But that's fine.
That lady has a question.
Very good evening, sir. Sir, we've all have read a lot of articles about your disillusionment with politics specifically. What was your intent when you joined politics? And the reason I ask this is because was it merely to support a friend, or was it much more than, or you decided that it was going to be something much more bigger or larger than what it is?
It has some kind of a relationship with what happened to me before that. In 1982, I was doing a film called Coolie, and I was very seriously injured. I was on deathbed. In fact, I actually died for a few minutes. But I have always felt that it was the prayers and the good wishes of the people of my country that was responsible for the fact that I'm sitting here in front of you.
My mom was one of them.
Okay, thank you so much.
She prayed a lot for you.
I always wondered during the time when I was recuperating, I had never seen this before. I'd never known the love and affection of the people. I joined the industry in 1969. I knew that there are fans, and we used to get fan letters and so on and so forth. But the extent of their affection and love, I came to know when I was in hospital, at the Breach Candy Hospital here, after the 82 accident. And when I came out, I was just overwhelmed by so many incidents, so many stories, sacrifices made by people of my country whom I just didn't know at all. It was a very moving and a very emotional moment for me. And I just felt that, how do I pay back? It's not just by me being or enacting another role. I just wanted to do something more constructive. And that was one of the points that came to my mind when I was asked by Rajiv ji to fight an election. I felt that this was one way where I could perhaps pay back what the nation had given me. So you started off in a small way. I started a charity. I never talked about it, but because there are many people who want to know what I do, I started a charity there where I was funding free medical assistance to the villagers. I came to know that in one of the villages that fell in my constituency, there were no first aid centers for within 30 to 40 kilometers of where they stayed. There were no facilities for a pregnant woman to get medical help in case there was an emergency. Women used to walk 20-25 kilometers every day to fill a ghada of water to last them for the entire day. No roads, nothing. One bulb was what was their acquisition, so to say. I went to a village and I saw a small pandal like this, decorated in the center of the village with flowers and agarbatti, and asked them, "Yahan koi bhagwan hai, inki puja karte hain?" "Haan sahab, bhagwan hai, upar dekhiye." And I looked up and there was one bulb hanging there. I said, "Ye hai hamare bhagwan. Ye Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru ki deen hai. Uske baad na humko कि यहाँ मिलने आया है या न देखने आया है. एक bulb. And we've come here and we've got millions of lights. And that was heartbreaking. And we say that, look, you know, we don't even think about it when we walk into our homes and we press a switch and millions of lights come on. And here is this village that actually prays for this one bulb that was given to them 30 years ago. And they pray because at night is the time they get after working in the fields to study. And they have no lights there. And this bulb is where the entire young people and the village sits and they educate themselves. So, you know, those are the conditions that when I saw, I was able to relate to it. I put some of these incidents in some of the forthcoming films as well. I went to a village, and while I was sitting on the munch, we were doing our bhashanbazi and everything, I asked for some water, and they brought a glass, and it was just in a you know, a metal glass. So I couldn't see what was inside there. And I drank it, and I just spat it out because it was akin to drinking acid. And I said, "ये तेजाब आप क्यों मुझे पिला रहे हैं?" कहें, "साहब, हमारे यहाँ पानी ऐसा ही होता है." It's got acid properties in it, and that has never been cured, never been taken care of. I put that incident in a film of mine called Main Azad Hoon. I don't know if many of you saw it or not. It was a very small film, but very purposeful. But that's how I felt at that moment. But when I started understanding what actual politics was, I was shocked to find um, the machinations that need to go through. It had nothing to do with emotion at all. We never believed in caste systems. We never believed in caste, creed, or color. But I discovered that, that's the most important thing when you go out to fight an election. You have blocks of caste and creed. My father never believed in caste. He married a Sikh lady who was the first woman, a Sikh woman, to come into Allahabad, and everyone was so annoyed and upset, very aggressive. It was against the caste, but he never feared, and neither did my mother. Traditionally, I'm supposed to be a Srivastav, but when my father went to get me admitted in school, and they asked him what my surname was, he refused to give the name Srivastav because it depicted your caste. Bachchan is my father's non-diploma. It's his poetic name, and it's the first of its kind, and I bear that surname. When the census people came a couple of years ago to check on the census, they do the census every year. They asked me, "What is your caste?" I wrote Indian. He said, "नहीं sir, caste लिखिए आप." मैंने कहा मैं Indian हूँ. नहीं sir, वो तो हम सब जानते हैं कि आप Indian हैं. And I refused to put my caste down there. My paper has gone without my writing my caste because I don't believe in it. So these were some of the things that were, a huge eye-opener for me. And I couldn't battle with it because I saw that the rest of it was all being conducted on this man. And so I felt that rather than put my inadequacy and my lack of knowledge to the people that I represent, I should be out of it.
So you've got lots of young people who still have more questions. We start with the gentleman in the checkered shirt.
Hi, sir. You are one of the most active celebrities on social media today. This is a place where the feedback and the responses are immediate. So how do you handle the negative and the positive feedback that is available to you on an immediate basis as compared to it used to be previously when it used to take time to come back?
Yeah. I'm very grateful for the social media because it has provided me an opportunity to interact, as you rightly say, with well-wishers or people who want to comment something. I welcome all that. I don't have any moderators, so if somebody abuses me, which happens quite often, I don't remove it. I'd like to listen to what they have to say. I have to give credit to the fact that there are many people who are 100 times more educated and more knowledge than I am, and it's a great process of education for me to read what they write. I just enjoy the fact that I'm able to talk one-on-one immediately. I do this mostly at the latter half of the day and mostly till early in the morning, but it's a wonderful experience. I don't know whether I should be saying this or not, but because we are here in the forum and you decide later on. On KBC, for example, there are many times when a contestant has won, say, 1,60,000. And one of the questions that we ask them is, what is your salary? And how long are you going to take to, earn this kind of money? And they invariably come out and say, this is the first time I'm seeing a check of such a large amount. And also the fact that it's going to take me 2 years, 3 years, 4 years to save 1,60,000 rupees. And I tell them that, well, you've been able to do that in a few minutes. I had a comment on that just a couple of days ago on my Facebook saying, sir, you asked this question to the contestant. I think it's very embarrassing and very rude on your part to ask about the financial situation of a contestant, knowing that they are very embarrassed about their state. I immediately took note of it. I have informed the production people. I maybe will not repeat that, but they must understand that I'm not saying that to embarrass him.
Sure, of course.
I'm merely trying to tell him or tell the people at large that here is an opportunity, that if you're knowledgeable enough and you get an opportunity, you will have the capability to win that large amount of money. And we have a wonderful example in Sanmeet here, who through great strife and struggle, educated herself and won 5 crore rupees.
You must give her a big round of applause.
There she is. And there couldn't be a better example of that. there are two or three things. She's the first woman to have won 5 crore rupees at KBC. And she has come through some very difficult times, but never forgot the value of education. The other thing that I must give credit to is her husband, Manmeet, who gave her the opportunity, allowed her to do what she wanted to do. Because I have always believed that women form 50% of the strength of a nation. They must be given their place, their dignity and respect. They are 50% of our force. Again, I'm saying things which, I'm just seeing Rahul here and everything is coming out. I have a son and a daughter. And every time, people ask me, you must write your will and, you're 70 years old now. And I tell them that whatever little I have is going to be divided after I die, will be equally divided within my daughter and my son. This is a practice that traditionally Indians do not follow. Once the girl gets married, she becomes somebody else's responsibility. But I have not believed in that. And I know that this is what I will do. So, there are many such thoughts that go into your mind when we talk about women power, women strength, the gang rape. All these things are very disturbing. And somewhere we all have to, intrinsically look at ourselves within. I feel that each one of us needs to know, what are we doing wrong? Where are we going wrong? I'm not putting myself away in a different category. I'm including myself in this. Yes, we all must look, whether it is films, whether it is media, whether it is politicians, they all need to look.
Everybody needs to look within. It's not
Absolutely.
just Bollywood, the media, everybody needs to look within. Since Sanmeet is with us and she won 5 crore rupees and Mr. Bachchan asked so many questions, we're keen that you ask a question to Mr. Bachchan as well. So what's your question?
Sir, मैं बस यही पूछना चाहूँ, how did you feel when you first became celebrity? And second question is, how did you feel when you make some आम आदमी a celebrity?
पहली बात तो ये है कि मैं सेलिब्रिटी अपने आप को मैंने माना नहीं और ना हो. अच्छा, अब इसको आप एक जबरदस्ती मॉडेस्टी मत लीजिएगा, पर सच्ची में हम आम आदमी हैं हम लोग. हमारी नौकरी ऐसी है जहां पर हमको थोड़ा सा एक लार्जर देन लाइफ हमारी इमेज होती है. No, I'm serious about this. How many of you saw me like this before? You saw me once. Where? You saw me in KBC. Okay. Anybody else? The first time you saw me as an actor was on a large screen which is 70 mm. I was 100 times bigger than what I am now. I was kicking and pasting 20 people single-handedly. I was singing the most romantic songs to a beautiful lady in the hills of Kashmir and flowers and everything. I was doing everything that was nice and beautiful. You're obviously going to like this guy, so that's the first impression you have of me. But we are not like that. I don't go singing to beautiful ladies in, Kashmir. And, if you were to come across and, hit me, I would think twice about hitting back, because I may not have the strength to take you on. So we are just like normal people. So to answer your question, Sanmeet, is that I've never actually believed that. Yes, if you say that, when was it that you came to know that you are being recognized? Yes, those are moments that you will remember. I just finished Anand with Rajesh Khanna. And a lot of the attention used to come to me because everybody used to ask, hey, you're working with Rajesh Khanna, how is he on set? Rajesh Khanna was God. And I used to feel very important that, people are coming to me and asking. So, when I went to shoot in the morning, I had a small Fiat car and I used to go to a petrol station here in Irla to fill petrol. So I filled in my petrol, 5 liters ही कमा सकते थे उस समय, तो सिर्फ 5 liter भरा. And then I went to work and it was perfectly normal. And when I came back, I needed to fill again because 5 liter खत्म हो गया था. And when I was filling again, I found people coming and sort of standing and looking at me. And by that time, the 3:30 show of Anand had happened. And, people were beginning to recognize. So that's the time recognition came.
Let's take a question from the gentleman in the white shirt.
So what's your reaction on government's recent move to clamp down social networking sites on the pretext of national security? Don't you think it's like muzzling free speech? And
No, and Section 66A especially.
Yeah, I think that, this is something that the legal system and those who study the Constitution will be better able to answer. And I think, Rahul, you will be better placed to answer that. But I don't think that, in a country that practices democracy and has given freedom of speech, this is something that you can really curb. However, if there is a point where national security is concerned, then yes, of course.
No, because especially given what those young girls in Mumbai posted on their Facebook pages about Balasaheb Thackeray, the fact that they were arrested. You're so active on social media. Do you think there's a need urgently to change the IT Act, especially these provisions which are so vast in their scope that people can get into trouble for the most innocuous of things?
See, I think because it's a new medium and it's just been sort of taken up so widely, we will go through these initial hiccups before we actually reach some kind of definite decision on that. And I think that this trial and error process will continue for a while. But in the end, of course, freedom of speech must rule, because that is what is one of our very basic tenets in democracy.
Okay, let's take some more questions. Who wants to ask the next question?
Very good evening. Actually, I wanted to say that since the LOC ceasefire violations have been in the news of late, what do you think in these trivial times, is peace possible with Pakistan?
Is peace?
Is peace possible with Pakistan?
Yeah. In general, I believe that we should be on very good relationship with all our neighbors. And I think every effort should be made to hold that peace. However, if there are skirmishes and if there are certain destruction of rules and laws, whether it is through Geneva Conventions or the understanding between nations, yes, they must be looked at. Our government must respond to it and give the people of the country some faith in what they have done and how they have perhaps attacked this issue. But yes, I do believe in peace, and I do believe that having peaceful neighbors is more beneficial than having one that you are at war with.
Okay, let's take a question from the gentleman there.
All due respect to the media, sometimes the media does use exaggerated facts and figures to express their views and sometimes raise their TRPs. So I would like to ask you if the Indian media is misusing the freedom given to them.
I don't know, Rahul,
No, you witness it on a daily basis. How much of what you see is fact, how much is fiction? What is your sense of the
I don't know what the true meaning of breaking news is. I was in Shimla shooting for a film, and there were frantic calls coming to me during the shooting, and I was wondering what it was. And when I reached my hotel room, they said, TV on kijiye, TV on kijiye. So I put it on, and the breaking news is, Amitabh Bachchan ko zukam ho gaya hai. So, I felt, this is trivial. But where else do we go to get information? And this is the medium that informs us. We get the latest news about what's happening, not just within our country, but outside the country as well. You can't do without it. But
for very long, you tried to do without it. You said there was this. You didn't wish to engage with the media. Do you get irritated when you see a story which you know is not true, which has just been planted or...
Yeah, so now I have a wonderful media of my own, which is the social media, which this gentleman was talking about. So I can always respond to that. And I find that it works fine. So if somebody gets it wrong in the interview or whatever remark they make, I correct it in there.
And you got so many followers that everybody finds out. But I'm very curious, sir. Given the fact that there's so many younger people and your followers on Facebook and Twitter far outnumber them, what is it that you make of your popularity cutting across generations? On the sets of KBC, I saw there were grandmothers, their daughters, their granddaughters. All of them called you hot, sexy, and said that, they were panting when they looked up towards you.
They're making a very big mistake. That's all that I can say. I mean, I just can't explain this, or most of the time I don't believe it. And but I'm just very grateful that there are various generations that are still sort of appreciative of my work. I would say that technically television has a lot to a very big part to play in this, because television is one medium that has kept us alive. All our old films keep getting shown. We do interviews like this, and they get to meet us more often. The social networking is very convenient, where we now have chats which are immediate. Previously, we used to write a fan letter. Most of the times, it was doubted whether we actually wrote that fan letter.
You wrote
or not.
back?
Many of them I did.
You actually wrote back.
But there are many things that many times that we had to just send an acknowledgement note, which was not necessarily written by me. You used to get, during my illness, for example, there are lakhs and lakhs of letters that come every day. It's virtually impossible to acknowledge them. So yes, even a small acknowledgement card to them, they felt very happy. When I was in school, I was a fan of Jerry Lewis, the comedian, and I just wrote to him once, and I got a card from him, and I thought that this was, this was the biggest gift I could ever get. So, we do these things, but not always is it possible to acknowledge what the people.
But you've outlasted by far.
So this is, as I was saying, the television has kept us alive.
No, but television, social media were avenues available to everybody. You have outlasted by far all your contemporaries. What is it that makes you so timeless, and your popularity spans so many generations?
I don't know. I don't know how.
You must think about it, I'm sure. Do you think about it?
Every time I think about it and say, "Bhai sahab, galti ho gayi, maaf kar dena."
Okay, let's take a question from that young girl.
In schools, you were scared of exams. Now you're scared of press conference. So is the media really scaring you?
Do you actually mean that, or do you just say that? You're
What?
Scared of press conference?
I'm scared. I'm petrified. I haven't been able. I've just finished a recording. At the back of my mind, I'm saying, "Gosh, I've got Rahul Kanwal at this time, and I'm going to have these people, and they're going to be asking questions. What do I do?" Yeah, it's scary. It really is, because I'm not very good at answering questions. I don't know how to deal with it. And I know that when I go back home after tonight's episode, I'm going to think and say, "Hey, I should have said this," But yes, it's not a very comforting thing.
So you made your debut in 1969, and since then it has been more than 40 years you're still working and giving a memorable and marvelous performance. I just want to ask, what's the main reason, or what even today makes you to work with the same confidence and same energy?
See, if I have taken up a profession, then I must be professional. I know that many people laugh at it. Some people say, "Arey sir, aapko kya takleef hai? 44 years se aap kaam kar rahe hain." No, that's not the point. The point is that every day is something new, and whether you're going to be able to do it or not. This is the way I do it. If I have lasted so long, I owe it purely to the affection of the people like you who want to see me and want to see my films.
Do you think of how long you can go on for? Because Sachin Tendulkar was often asked, when will you retire? How long do you think you can do it?
Yeah.
Do you have that thought that how long can I go on doing KBC?
In many ways, Rahul, it's an interesting question you ask, because there's a physicality involved in both these professions.
Sure.
As you get older, your acumen at the sport that you're playing will reduce, and as we get older, as you can see me, I can't be playing young roles anymore. I'll have to be playing character roles, and even that will soon disappear, because I'm going to be having difficulty walking, breathing, talking, whatever it is. This is age related. So with age, you have to realize when you want to stop. I just feel that maybe I can still conduct a show and maybe say a few lines for a film, and if somebody gives me a good role which I like doing, I'll do it. But I know that eventually all these factors will come into play.
But does your family press you that you mustn't work any longer, there's no need for you to work, take care of your health, stay at home?
Nobody else but me is going to decide that, because I know what I do it for, or what the reasons are, and there could be many. There could be any amount of things. Keeping yourself busy, wanting to keep doing fresh things, making sure that you're secure and that your family is secure. Maybe I need to work a lot more to secure my family, financially, morally, socially, personally, individually. Maybe I want to do that. There are many people who would not want to do that. I was in Chennai last night, and I met up with my old friend Rajnikant, and he was saying, he was just talking, and he was saying the same thing. He said, I don't want to do all this thing anymore. I'm getting very disturbed. I don't want to sing and dance anymore. I don't want to. He said, I did robot and it was very strenuous. Every day make up this and do different character and do this. It's strenuous for me. I don't know what to do. I told him, you do character roles now, what is there? But you see, he's in a different league altogether.
He's Rajnikant.
He's Rajnikant.
He can't
And
be in a
he's
character.
in a different league altogether. So, some very interesting conversations.
Well, 44 years is a long time and counting. You're a genius when it comes to reinvention. You've bared your heart, you've connected with these young people, you've heard them, you've spoken to them. Mr. Amitabh Bachchan, thank you very much for joining us on The Right to Be Heard. Can we have a warm round of applause for him? Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Thank you so much.